Now, if you step away from the gym for like 2 weeks and you go back and try to do the same weight again, it's going to be hard as shit. Welcome back to Beyond the Build pod. This is episode number 7, I think. Yep, it's number 7. It's number 6. And this is your raw, unfiltered podcast hosted by myself, Wendell Butler, where I just talk real shit. We go behind the curtains of entrepreneurship. We talk about the ins and outs of every day building a business. I'm in real estate, so we talk about real estate projects and what we got going on there, lending as well, and just like what I'm doing each day, and I hope that it helps people in their endeavors, whether that be building a business, whether that be just making yourself better. We're just thinking outside the box, seeing different perspectives, right? I'm not a fan of gurus, not a fan of all the Instagram only showing highlight type people. I think more people need to show actually what's behind the curtains and what's really going on, and not just flaunt, the fake successes or the real successes, but don't talk about how they, like, what it took to get there, right? Because this shit's hard. It's hard, man. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to build a business, it's not easy. It is tough. But today I just want to talk quick bit about the one thing that will let you be successful, and that is discipline. Now, I've had ups and downs with discipline throughout my whole life. I think that's just it's a certain battle that you have with yourself. You're not born with discipline. You have to craft it. You have to hone in on it and continue practicing it, or it will go away, and it goes away really fast. Discipline is something that reminds me of the guy pushing the ball up the hill. It's like you're working so hard to be disciplined, you're pushing that ball up the hill, and eventually, like, it gets gradual, it gets a little easier. But once you let up on it, that ball is going to fall down so quick. You're going to get snapped right back into the old you. It's like a cliff, right? So you have to continuously focus on discipline and make sure that you're doing the things you need to do every single day. And it'll just help you compound your life into what you want it to be. And this stems from, treating your body right, working out, eating healthy, discipline with that. That's where it all should start. Consuming the right stuff by educating yourself, reading books, watching the right stuff, talking to the right people, hanging out with the right people, and being disciplined in that nature. Then also, when it comes to business and trying to reach your goals, you have to be disciplined enough to do the tedious tasks or the things you have to do every single day to put one foot in front of the other and eventually get there, right? Now, one of the biggest things about discipline is that people look at it, like, for example, if you're like on a diet or you're trying to discipline yourself, adhering to a strict diet to lose weight or something, people in your mind, I think your mind automatically makes it feel like you are giving up freedom to do that, but you are actually gaining more freedom because you're the one that is choosing it and is making it so you're becoming a healthier, better you, which in the future you will have way more abilities and just a better baseline to like push through things that might be tough, right? And that gives you way more freedom because you can overcome so many more challenges. And it's as simple as, like, adhering to a diet. Like, if you can complete that and you can do that, like, it's just an extra tick on your discipline list that you can go back into your mind and your past and be like, I did that, so I can get through this, right? It just allows you, which in a sense gets you more freedom because then you can do more, right? You start unlocking your brain to be like, I can overcome whatever, right? So what are some things that I do for my discipline? I'm not gonna lie, I've been not too disciplined lately. So when that happens to me, I do a thing called 75 hard, which, shout out, I'm wearing the hat right now, First Form. Andy Frisella, he talks about this a lot. 75 hard, it's like a mental toughness challenge, but it includes working out and stuff and dieting. So it not only mentally challenges you and makes you better and more disciplined, but it physically puts you just in better shape and makes you feel better. So I'm actually gonna start doing that. When I feel undisciplined and I feel unmotivated, I usually do 75 hard and it kicks me back into gear. It's kind of like a reset button. And I have been, yeah, I've not been too disciplined, but when I am disciplined, I'm half and half disciplined. I'm not disciplined to the point that I'm happy with it, which is why I'm doing 75 hard. Because, like I said before, you're pushing that ball up the hill for discipline, and you're killing it. Right, the second you let your foot off the gas or stop pushing that ball, it's going to roll back down. And you go right back to square one. And I felt like the ball is rolling back down, so that's why I say, hey, time to do 75 hard and get back on track. So some things that I do is, one is that I time block. One is time blocking. So I time block my calendar to make sure that I'm doing specific things each day. And I plan this out weekly. Every Sunday I plan that stuff. And then I actually plan to each day, right? I have a Power 5 list, which also shout out to Andy. He does the Power 5 list as well, which you do 5 critical tasks a day. And those tasks have to be done in that day, or you technically lose the day, right? And if you finish those 5 tasks, then you can basically screw off and do whatever you want the rest of the day. And that also allows you to build like some type of work-life balance, which is, it's kind of that's a bullshit saying, but it allows you to complete the things that you need to do to move forward, but also have time to enjoy life. So, for example, for me, I etch out from 6 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., which I've not been very good at waking up at 6 a.m. lately, which is going to change with 75 hard. That is where I get my training in. So gym, I do my reading, I do cold plunge, I do sauna, and it's where I just really set the anchor for the day, which for me is like really focusing on me, my fitness, my health, and just not looking at anything work related for those first 3 hours. And it lets me get in my mental headspace to then perform better for the rest of the day. The other thing I do is called the 6 S's. Don't make me say what they stand for, because I honestly forget, but it's from Michael Abundance Group. Essentially what it is that the end of each week, you write down what went right during the week, what went wrong during the week, what you have to do for the next week, and then you time block on your calendar for that next week. And then you write it all down, right? So you can look at it throughout the week and check off everything that you need to do. And I pair that with the Power 5 list so I can hone it down even more to day by day, not just week by week. And then I also plan like my quarters, and I plan my annual goals, and I plan my, 1-year goal, 5-year goal, 10-year goal. So I plan all the way out 10 years and 5 years and 1 year, and then all the way down to quarters, all the way down to weekly, all the way down to daily, right? So I make sure that I always have that, because if I don't have that, I am like a typical entrepreneur where I have shiny object syndrome, and I love chaos. So then I just start doing random shit all day, which feels like I'm doing stuff, but I'm not really moving the needle on my business. That might be a lot to some people. So I'll challenge anybody here to at least try out the Power 5 list. Look at what you want to do for the year. And then each day, write down like 5 critical tasks in the morning that you have to do. And it can't be like folding laundry or brushing your teeth. It has to be things that make you better as a human and moves you towards your better potential in your business and life, right? So that could be like, for me, let me pull up mine, and I'll tell you what mine were today. I'll tell you exactly what they were. 1 second. So 1 is record. 2, Beyond the Build podcast, which I'm doing right now. So that's some discipline. I had a meeting for AI agents to possibly put into our business, which I did. I had to do some documentation for joint venture agreements and capital raising, like promissory notes and things like that for investments that are going on. I had to post around Facebook groups and reach out to wholesalers for my lending company to try to form partnerships and get some more clients, just some quick marketing there. And then I'm doing a capital raise brainstorm of how to put together just a better framework or ideas of holding events, going to networking events, to help meet more people, build more relationships, to help raise more capital for our projects going on in real estate. Those are my 5 things. Um, and once you do all those, you check them off each one by one, right? And you want to complete those 5 things in the day. Everything else outside of that is noise. You ignore those, and you got to just do these 5 things, and then you can handle the other things. But I do stress that once you do these 5 things, you shut everything off or try to and step away, because otherwise you just burn yourself out. Entrepreneurs love making lists. Your list will be infinite. The power of 5 keeps it to 5 things a day, so you can actually enjoy life at the same time. But it's disciplined, right? Because you have to do those 5 things, or you lose the day, right? And the point is to win as many days as you can, right? There's 365 days in a year. You want to win as many as you can. If you compound those 5 things, critical tasks, every single day, and you do it for 365 days, I mean, you're going to be light years ahead of everybody else. If those critical tasks are actually things that are moving you forward, they can't be BS. It has to be real good critical tasks. Because like, why do most people fail at business? I think there's what is it, like 2 out of 10 people become business owners, and then of those 2 of 10, like 1 out of 10 become successful or actually make it work. I'm gonna be butchering that, but it is that slim of margins, right? And why do people not succeed? And it's because they don't remain disciplined, and they don't continue doing the hard things every single day and just keep putting one foot in front of the other to grow their business and push it in the right direction. Most people get into running a business and think it's going to be so easy, and it's just going to coast, and they're just going to put it together, and it's just going to start working for them, right? Little do they know that most businesses take 3 years to profit, and like 1 out of 10 businesses even make it that far, right? Most people quit. So yeah, it's all about that discipline. It's all about the consistency of showing up every day and just doing what you have to do every single day, even when you don't want to do it, right? If you don't want to do it, you better do it even more. It's kind of like that bitch voice in your mind that might be like, I don't want to do this today, blah blah. Like, that thing's your enemy. Like, you have to tell it to shut up and do it, because if you concede to it, that voice just gets louder and louder, and then it starts trying to take you over. And just to relate back to me, that's why I'm doing 75 hard, because my bitch voice is very loud right now. It has been loud, so I'm going to make that thing shut up. Now, discipline is not something that you're born with. It is a skill that you develop. It's like going to the gym. It's like lifting weights. When you first go, it's hard. You're not going to lift the heaviest weights. It's going to be challenging, and it's going to be new, right? But as you go again and again, it gets easier, and you start lifting more weights. You start getting the technique down, and then it becomes more becomes more intertwined with like how you live your life, right? It becomes easier. Now, if you step away from the gym for like 2 weeks and you go back and try to do the same weight again, it's going to be hard as shit. And it's the same thing with discipline. If you step away from it and then you come back, it's really hard to get back going. And that's the importance of just being consistent and doing it every single day. And that's why most people fail, because it starts getting hard. They say, oh, I'll just, take today off. I won't do that. I'll put that off to another day. And you start talking to yourself like, I'll start that Monday. And then the next Monday comes, you're like, oh, I didn't get it done. I'll start this Monday, I swear. And then you just start lying to yourself. And the more that you lie to yourself, the more that you start losing confidence. And when you start losing confidence, you start losing everything, right? So it's a mental game, right? And that's why I like creating the systems of planning and doing like the Power 5 and my weekly stuff, because it keeps me on the right path, and it lets me go back and look at kind of what I'm doing and what I have done too. Because I'm not going to lie, when you're building a business, sometimes it feels like you're running on a treadmill because you're doing the same stuff all the time and it's not going anywhere. But when you look back on what you've done and accomplished, like on the Power Five list or on my, weekly stuff that I have to do, and I can scroll back and see what I did, you start seeing actually how far you have come. Um, and it's amazing. And it really does like make you feel better when you actually do it that way with those systems. But yeah, it's just a mental game. It's a battle against yourself. And you're going to have people, you're going to have outside forces that try to knock you off your track, try to knock you off your discipline. And you just have to be disciplined enough to, put the blinders on and say, get out of my way. I'm trying to do this thing. And it is my goal and it is my mission to complete it. And nothing's getting in my way. So, yeah. So, yeah, for me, I mean, that's why I'm getting back into 75 hard. If you're listening to this, you should look it up and try it out. It's pretty tough. It's tough to do, especially alongside building a business. But it's funny because like when you do it, the first thing that you say when you hear what you have to do is like, I don't have time for that. So you have to work out twice a day. One has to be outside, one has to be inside for 45 minutes. You have to drink a gallon of water in the whole day. You have to stick to a diet, and it doesn't have to be a crazy diet. Like for me, it's going to be like I got to stay around 2,000 calories and hit my macros for protein, carbs, and fiber, and no junk food. So I can't have like desserts or cake or whatever, and no alcohol either. So you can't have alcohol. And then you have to read 10 pages of a book every night. I'll be reading some books that have been on my bedside table, and I have been telling myself to read them, but I haven't. So it's going to force me to do it. And then you take a progress picture of yourself as well. And you do that for 75 days straight. If you miss anything of those days, you have to restart from day one, right? And alongside of that, I'm also going to be continuing to build my business. And some people might hear that and be like, how the hell, like, how do you have time for that? And that's your bitch voice talking to you, because I've done this many times. I've done 75 hard 3 times so far. Every single time I do it, it's really hard to get started. Actually, it's the first few days you're like excited. It's like business. It's like building a business. You get the exciting momentum. You're like, I'm doing this. Woo. And you get to like days 5, 6, 7, and you're kind of like, this kind of sucks. And then the second week and the third week, it gets even worse. And then 21 days to like 50 days, it is just like, you kind of lock in, but also it is just tough, right? And then 50 days and on, it's kind of like your routine now. So you're just like, I got to do it. It is what it is. And then when you get to 75 days, you're kind of locked in, and you just want to keep doing it, right? It's part of you now. Some people nonchalantly do it. It doesn't work. Like 75 soft, that shit doesn't work. You have to do the actual 75 hard, and actually, it really does work. And then there's other programs you can do after that, which is like the Live Hard program and things like that, which I've done a little bit of them. I might try to do it this time, the whole thing. But it is 75 hard alone. It sets you right back on a track for discipline and getting everything, getting some momentum built and some confidence back. And it's also funny because when you start doing all those things, you have no time for bullshit. So you actually have more time for your business, because you have to allocate your time so correctly that you start thinking way more strategical in your business. You start doing things that actually improve your business more, and you start doing the high dollar tasks and the activities that move the needle forward even more, because you have to get those 2 workouts in. You have to drink the gallon of water. You have to read. You got other things you have to do. So it shrinks down the time and the boredom that you have to screw off and just do nothing. So in the finite amount of time that you have, you actually excel your business even more. And it's kind of like we're starting to implement this thing called profit first into our business, which is kind of the same type of mind frame around it. It is, as you make money in your business, you want to pay your profits out first, and then whatever's left over, use that money for your business. And what it does is it flips the script of getting money in and then putting it back into your business and then taking profits after. It's going to make it so you pay yourself profits, and then whatever's left over, then you put into your business, which makes you think way more strategically about how to use that money. And it makes you cut out things that aren't needed in your business. It kind of resets your financials of your business and makes you use your dollars even more effectively. So it's kind of the same thing with 75 hard or something like that, and being very disciplined. You have way less time to screw around. So with that short amount of time that you have to work on your business, which I say short, you still have a shit ton of time. Like you're only working out for an hour and a half in the day. Like that's like a normal workout for me when I just do it myself at the gym. It's just the fact that you have to do it twice and you have to do it like a couple hours apart. That's what kind of throws it off. But you you have a lot. You have more dedicated time to your business that is more focused, because you have to be when you're doing that program. So, but that's just my spiel on discipline, and I think everybody should try out 75 hard. It's been amazing for me when I do it, and it really does shift your mental, and it helps you get more disciplined. And I think discipline is the number one key to being successful. It creates more consistency in your life. It makes you more resilient and makes you more confident. And yeah, and you got to keep working at it. You can't just let it go. It's not something that you're born with. It's a skill that you have to continuously work at. And yeah, so stay disciplined and keep moving. And I challenge everybody to try out 75 hard. And be sure to, as always, go to wendellbutler.com. Give me a follow on social media if you want to hear more about what I'm doing. I got my newsletter on there too, where I send out weekly newsletters of what's going on inside of my business as well, and monthly ones too, so you can see the projects that I'm working on and the real behind the scenes of what's going on and what a real entrepreneurial life is. Because it's not just all highlights; it's a lot of just figuring out as you go, and you win some, you lose some. But again, as long as you're disciplined, consistent, and keep putting one foot in front of the other, and just do not quit, you literally cannot fail. As long as you learn from your lessons, like learn from the failures and change, you can't lose. But yeah, thank you all for listening, and see you in the next one.